Hey fishing friend, my name is JC with Radreeling Fishing. I'm going to show you 3 effective ways to rig a jig and a teaser to catch pompano. Guys, I've been catching a whole bunch of pompano on all 3 of these rigs, and the reason I use 3 different rigs is because they might not be hitting on one, so I switch over to another. The other day I was at the jetties, some guy next to me was catching pompano. I looked at his rig and I'm like, oh, I'm not rigged like him. I rigged up like him and I started catching pompano, so let's get to it. I'm going to show you 3 ways to rig a jig and a teaser for pompano. Why 3 different ways? Well, if you can't get them to hit one way, try rigging a different way. The jig that I like to use is called a banana jig, a goofy jig, a silly jig, or a wacky jig. I get these in 3/8 ounce, ½ ounce, 3/4, and 1 ounce, and I change the weight of the jig depending on the current and the wind speed. The idea is you have to keep these jigs just gently bouncing on the bottom. That's where the pompano feed. Now I have 2 teasers here. This teaser right here, this is a store-bought teaser. You can get these at small mom and pop tackle shops. They generally keep a pretty decent supply of small pompano teasers. This one I tied with an electric drill. I put a link up here in this video. You guys can check that out. I am going to be uploading a video soon of a new DIY method that I use for tying my own teasers. You can save yourself a lot of money if you learn how to tie your own teasers. I like to use 20-pound test monofilament leader line. I get this stuff at Walmart, about $2 for 250 yards. That's a good deal. For demonstration purposes, I'm using a heavier line. Let me show you the first method, which is by far the most popular. Thread your jig on, thread your teaser on. Next thing you're going to do is just take and hold the tag in, let the jig and the teaser kind of hang down. Then you're going to come up here above on this side, and you're going to create 2 loops. Remember the formula, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. 1 loop in the front, 2 loops in the front. See how I did that? 1 loop in the front, 2 loops in the front. That second loop goes in the back of the first loop. Bring it through and bring it a little bit higher. Then your tag end is going to come in through the back of your second loop, like that. 2 in the front, 2 in the back. Bring that through, grab your tag end, then adjust the size of the loop that you want. Adjust the size of the loop that you want. I'm going to put about a 1 inch and a half loop in this. So at this point, I'm holding the tag end tight. I've got the jig and the teaser tight. I'm going to let go of those first 2 loops that I did, and I'm just going to snug that down good and tight like that. Then I'm going to take my tag in and pull it tight. You really, with a canoe man loop knot, what I've learned is you have to cinch that knot down really, really good. Otherwise, it's not going to hold. So once we do that, clip that off. I'll put a link here in this video to how to tie the canoe man loop knot. I've got a really good tutorial on that. So this is the most popular way that you're going to see people rig for pompano. They'll just have a small loop in there so that teaser can kind of flop around a little bit. And the idea, I'm pretty sure the idea behind the rig with the jig and the teaser is that this is supposed to represent like a shell or a clam that is open. And this little teaser thing right here actually is supposed to be like the goody clam on the inside of the shell that's kind of loose and flopping around. That's what I was told anyway. But anyway, this is the most popular way to rig, and it's a great way to catch pompano. Let me show you the second method. Real quick before I show you the next method, I wear Salty Scales apparel. Why? Because they have the best looking fishing designs out there. They're lightweight and they protect me from the sun. They've got hats, buffs, shirts. Guys, they got all kinds of stuff. Head over to Salty Scales. Use code JC15. Get yourself 15% off. All right, let's get back to the next method. All right, method number 2 is similar, you guys. We're going to put the jig on the line. We're going to get the teaser on the line. But this time we're going to come way up on the line. We're going to come up about 10 inches from where the jig and the teaser are at. Then we're going to tie our canoe man loop knot. 2 in the front, 2 in the back. Bring the tag end through. And what we're doing here is we're going to cinch that down really up high. So you see what I've done here is I put a very large loop knot. So now that teaser has a lot of room to slide back and forth on there. That teaser can slide way up to about 10 inches away from the shell. It just gives it a little different presentation, more versatility in what the pompano are going to see down there. And guys, the other day I was fishing at the jetties. I was not catching pompano. A guy was rigged this way. He caught 2 pompano. I changed my rig and I started catching pompano. So that's why it's important to know the different ways to rig for pompano. This next rig I have caught loads of pompano on. And this one can really be varied quite a bit. So first thing we're going to do is tie our teaser on, thread that through and bring it up on the line about 14, 15, 16 inches, double the line over, and then we're going to create a loop like we were tying our shoe, an overhand knot. We're going to go inside that loop 3 times. 1, 2, 3. We're just trying to make a little area where that line's going to hang off the main line, kind of like a dropper loop. This is just the easy way to do it. So that's all you're doing right there. So now I'm up from here down to the tag end. I've got about 14 inches. Next thing we're going to do, we have 2 options here. We can just tie the jig on by itself, or we can give ourselves even more options and we can go ahead and tie the teaser on as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just tie this one on with just the jig, but if you want the additional option, go ahead and put the teaser on as well. But just so that this method is really completely different than the other ones, and I'll just go ahead and tie that on with a canoe man loop knot as well. So there you can see you got your teaser up here about 10 to 12 inches, and you got your jig down here. But like I said, optionally you could put the teaser on the jig as well. Let me share with you a little bit about the colors that I like to use, also how I rig my leader line, and the method that I use to catch these pompano. Colors, guys, for the jigs, I like pink, pink and white, yellow, chartreuse, chartreuse, and white. Those are the 3 main colors that I like to use on the jig. As far as the teasers, I like yellow teasers, pink teasers, and the bright chartreuse green teasers. And I just basically rig them up in all different combinations. But I would say that I have caught more pompano on the yellow teaser and more pompano on the pink and white jig than any other rig. For the leader, guys, because I use cheap monofilament, I mean $2 for 250 yards, I like to rig up with a 6-foot long leader. I make it as long as my fishing rod. I attach it to my 15-pound test braided line using a uni to uni knot. Now, the method that I use, I'm going to cast that out there. I'm going to sink that all the way down to the bottom, and I'm just going to twitch it a couple of times and let it hit the bottom. Sometimes I don't even twitch it off the bottom. I'm just twitching it, keeping it on the bottom, making that little teaser twitch down there. The pompano are feeding on the bottom, guys. You catch Spanish mackerel and ladyfish when you get up off of the bottom. That's why we're using different size jigs, because sometimes that current is going to be ripping, sometimes the wind is going to be blowing hard. You're going to have to use a 3/4 ounce jigs. Other times you're going to be able to use a 1/2 ounce or a 3/8 ounce jig. So that's it, guys. Keep that thing on the bottom. You don't want to jerk it really hard. I really believe that the harder that you jerk that thing, the more that you are going to scare the fish away. And remember, click that link in the description area. Head over to Salty Scales, use code JC15 to get 15% off on Salty Scales apparel. Thumbs up or appreciate it. Get out there and go fishing, man. Life is fun. Live it. See ya.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shame.